built a palace out of small denials, furnished every room with forced smiles. We knew the basement had a leak and crack, but we painted over it and never looked back. We became fluent in the language of pretend, two experts at avoiding the dead. And the elephant in every room we shared was that neither of us truly cared. It was a truth we could not face, that love had left without a trace. We still shared the bed, still played the part, but we were acting with an empty heart. We knew the script was hollow, knew the lines were out of place, but we couldn't bear the truth we could not face. We'd sit at dinner talking about the weather, anything to keep the lie together. Your hand in mine was just a muscle memory, not the spark of what it used to be. We both suspected both true silent conclusions, both protected our own small illusions, because admitting what we'd known for years would flood the palace with the truth of tears. It was the truth we could not face, that love had left without a trace. We still shared the bed, still played the part, but we were acting with an empty heart. We knew the script was hollow, knew the lines were out of place, but we couldn't bear the truth we could not face. Maybe we were terrified of what came next, the loneliness, the starting over, the regrets. So we chose the comfort of a quiet lie over the chaos of an honest goodbye. Two architects of our own cage, building walls to hide the dying age of a love that already gone, but we just kept the theater on. Truth we could not face until tonight, when I saw the exhaustion in your eyes, the fading light. We've been carrying a corpse and calling it alive. Two mourners who forgot how to cry. I'm setting down the burden, I'm opening the door to the truth we could not face. We could not face. Truth we could not face. I didn't know that love could be a flood. I thought the more I gave, the more you would. But I poured oceans where a glass would do, and drowned the very thing I meant to rescue. You tried to tell me with your distant eyes that I was sinking us with all my tries, but I kept swimming further from the shore, convinced that love was always needing more. I loved you too deeply, that was my mistake. I turned a river into an impossible lake. I buried you in affection, I covered you in care, till you were gasping for the open air. I didn't lose you to grow your roots and stand. I wrapped you in the tightness of my hands. You whispered, let me breathe, but I just heard a call for more devotion in your words. The weight of my own loving crushed the vine. I was the sun that wouldn't let you find the shade. Too bright, too constant, too afraid of letting any darkness come to waste. I loved you too deeply, that was my mistake. I turned a river into an impossible lake. I buried you in affection, I covered you in care, till you were gasping for the open air. I didn't lose you 'cause my heart was small or cheap. I lost you because I loved you too deeply. Now I understand the balance I destroyed. Our love can be a gift or be a void. The same fire that can warm can also scorch the ground. I held you up so high you couldn't come back down. I'm not asking for forgiveness or a second start, just acknowledging the damage of an overflowing heart. I loved you too deeply, and I'm learning to be still, to love with open palms and not with iron will. You deserve the sunlight filtered through the leaves, not the blazing desert I made you receive. I don't regret the death, I just regret the way it steams. I loved you too deeply, I loved you too deeply. Too deeply, the river, the lake, the flood. I loved you too deeply, still learning, still unlearning how to love without drowning too deeply. They told me to let go of what we lost, to fill the quiet with new noise at any cost. But I've wrapped my fingers round the emptiness and made a fist around what's left of us. The silence is an absence, it's a thing I hold, a fragile, heavy, unrelenting gold. I carry it through mornings, through the noise, through the rain, a souvenir of everything that couldn't stay. I'm still holding on to silence like it's your hand, the only conversation I still understand. It doesn't speak, it doesn't move, it doesn't ask for more. It's just the echo of the closing of a door. I don't need your voice to feel you in the stillness of this land. I'm still holding on to silence, and silence holds me back. I've learned to read the pauses in the air, the way the quiet settles on your empty chair. It tells me stories that your words could never touch, the deepest language, the most honest crutch. Some people cling to photographs or songs. I cling to what was left when you were gone. A vacuum that remembers every word you said and keeps them safe inside my head. I'm still holding on to silence like it's your hand. The only conversation I still understand. It doesn't speak, it doesn't move, it doesn't ask for more. It's just the echo of the closing of a door. I don't need your voice to feel you in the stillness of this land. I'm still holding on to silence, and silence holds me back. Maybe one day I'll uncurl my fist and let the quiet drift into the mist. But something in the nothing keeps me bound, a sacred hollow everlasting sound. It's not the pain that makes me stay, it's the fear of losing what your absence gave. A strange companion, cold but true, the only thing I have left of you. Still holding on to silence, and maybe that's okay. Not every emptiness deserves to be pushed away. I've made a home inside the stillness you bequeath, a cathedral built from what you didn't leave. I'm not waiting for a word, I'm not waiting for a sign. I'm just still holding on to silence till the silence becomes mine. To silence, to nothing, to you. Still holding on to silence, the fist uncurling slowly, but not today. Still holding on. Above the noise and doubt, a gravity that canceled all my clouds out. I thought I'd found my wings inside your arms, not knowing I need landing when you harmed. The higher that you took me, the more I believed that I was safe, that I could never grieve. But when you let me go without a sound, there was no net, no hand, no ground. Your love became my fall after holding me so tall. I don't blame the sky for being blue, I blame myself for trusting all of you. You didn't push me, you just stopped holding on, and your love became my fall. altitude would never fade. But elevation is alone, not a gift. And when you left, the gravity was swift. The drop was silent, sudden, absolute. I reached for anything but grab the truth that you had been my atmosphere and floor. And now I'm falling evermore. Your love became my fall. After holding me so tall, I don't blame the sky for being blue. I blame myself for trusting all of you. You didn't push me, you just stopped holding on. And your love became my fall. My fall. Maybe I should have built my own wings instead of borrowing yours for everything. But you offered me the heavens and the view, and I forgot that I was passing through. Now I'm plummeting through memories and air, learning that not every lift is fair. I thought by now the walls would be complete, a fortress built from every past defeat. I locked the windows, bolted every door, convinced my heart could not be trusted anymore. Then sunlight found a crack I couldn't seal. A stranger's kindness caught me off my heel, and something in my chest began to stir, a language I had long forgotten words. I have a heart that still feels despite the scars. It breaks a little every time I see the stars. It catches on the smallest things, a song, a smile, a name. It hasn't learned to play the numb and careful game. I try to teach it silence, try to make it steal, but I have a heart that still feels. I watch a movie and the tears still come. thin and splitting at the draft. I used to think resilience meant to close, to freeze the garden so no flower grows. But here I am, defenseless and exposed, and somehow not opposed. I have a heart that still feels despite the scars. It breaks a little every time I see the stars. It catches on the smallest things, a song, a smile, a name. It hasn't learned to play the numb and careful game. I try to teach it silence, try to make it steal, but I have a heart that still feels. Maybe feeling isn't weakness after all. Maybe it's the only way to stand up tall. After everything that tried to knock me down, I'm still here, still open, still around. The miracle is not that I survived, but that my heart is still alive and reaching out its fragile, foolish hand to understand. I have a heart that still feels, and I'm letting it be solved. After all the battles and the years I've lost, it's not a flaw to feel the world so deep. It's the promise that my soul still gets to keep. I'm done with iron cages, done with walls that heal. I have a heart that still feels, a heart that still feels, still feels, still feels the sunlight, the kindness, the tears. A heart that still feels, still open, still tender, and grateful for the ache. A heart that still feels. Midnight used to be a sanctuary, a place where your breath kept me stationary. Now the hours open like a trapdoor, and I'm plunging through the dark I can't ignore. The clocks all spin, the stars all blur. I reach for something but nothing's sure. Each evening is a chasm deep and wide, and I'm tumbling through the other side. I'm falling through empty nights without your gravity. No floor, no ceiling, just the vast cavity of vows that once held us in their velvet frame. Now they just whisper your vanishing name. I keep descending, keep expecting the morning light, but I'm still falling through empty nights. still holds the shape of your goodbye, a sculpture carved from all we couldn't try. The echoes of our laughter hit the walls, then crumble into nothing down the halls. It's not the quiet that the world provides, it's not the peace that loneliness can hide. It's something sharper, something cold and bare, the sudden absence of what filled the air. This is the silence after love has gone, not just the missing of a voice at dawn. It's every word we never got to speak, hanging frozen, waiting for release. It's deafening, it's heavy, it's a sound I can't defeat. The silence after love is incomplete. I used to curse the noise we used to make, the arguments that kept us both awake. But now I trade the quiet in my chest for one more clumsy fight we never dressed. The silence has a texture I can feel, a velvet weight that almost isn't real. It settles on my skin like morning dew, and whispers all the things I never knew. This is the silence after love has gone, not just the missing of a voice at dawn. It's every word we never got to speak, hanging frozen, waiting for release. It's deafening, it's heavy, it's a sound I can't defeat. The silence after love is incomplete. Maybe the stillness is a different kind of song, a pause between the movements, not a wrong. Maybe the silence is an absence after all, but a canvas waiting for a future call. When my voice comes back from where it fled and fills the spaces where you once had tread. the silence after love. Not empty, not hollow, just waiting for the next snow to come. I used to know exactly where I stood. The compass of my chest always worked good. It pointed north to everything you were. A steady pulse, a rhythmic certain stir. But somewhere in the labyrinth of years, the needle started spinning out of fear. I lost the map I'd memorized by touch, and now I'm wandering in the dust of us. I have a heart that lost its way, not broken, just astray. It still beats, it still tries, it still searches every room, but it can't find the path that led me back to you. I'm standing at the crossroads with nothing left to say, just a heart that lost its way. I trace the scars like landmarks on my skin, hoping they'll remind me where I've been. But every scar just looks the same in fall, a faded arrow on a hollow log. I call your name into the empty trees. The echo answers back with no reprieve. It's not that I don't wanna find the trail, it's that the trail has disappeared, and I'm too frail. I have a heart that lost its way, not broken, just astray. It still beats, it still tries, it still searches every room, but it can't find the path that led me back to you. I'm standing at the crossroads with nothing left to say, just a heart that lost its way. Maybe getting lost is part of healing, part of growth. Maybe the wandering is teaching me to float without a destination, without a guiding star. Just learning who I am when I don't know where you are. The forest is confusing, but it's also strangely wide. And maybe there's a clearing on the other side. That's alright, even lost hearts still beat through the night. I'm not asking for directions, not begging for the map. I'm just learning how to navigate the gap between the love I had and the love I'll find someday. With a walking, still beating through the woods, through the haze, a heart that lost its way. Like I could walk on water, like the storm would wait. You built your world around the thought of us, a temple made of promises and trust. Then something shifted in the way you stared. The certainty you carried disappeared. I felt the doubt before I heard the words, a silent crumbling of what we were. When you stopped believing, tried to prove my worth with every deed, to plant again the garden of your need. But faith is not a flower you can force. It withers without water, without source. You started looking past me to the door, measuring the distance to the floor. Your heart had packed its bags before your hands and left me in the ruins of our plans. When you stopped believing, I felt the ground give way, not in a single moment, but a slow decay. You didn't leave, you just let go inside. You stopped defending, stopped the fight. I was still standing on the altar, still receiving nothing when you stopped believing. It's not your fault you couldn't keep the flame. Faith is fragile, not a game. But I wish you told me when the first crack came, instead of letting silence be the blame. I would have knelt beside you in the rain, try to find the sacred in the pain. Instead I preach to empty pews, a congregation of refuse. Finally stopped believing, I had to find my own, a different kind of faith I'd never known. Not in us, not in you, not in the love we shared, but in myself, alone and scared. I'm rebuilding temples from the rubble. I'm still grieving since you stopped believing. Since you stopped believing. Stop believing. Stop believing. The altar is empty, the temple is cold. When you stop believing, I'm still praying, still seeking. Wrote the first line on a rainy afternoon. Two strangers sketching stars across a quiet room. The chapters flowed like rivers to the sea. A tale of you, a tale of me. We fill the pages up with laughter and with pain, with mornings golden bright and evenings soaked in rain. We built a world from paragraphs and rhyme, a beautiful, imperfect climb. This is the end of our story, not the end of who we are. Just a final punctuation on a paragraph that traveled far. The cover's worn, the spine is cracked, the ink is fading blue, but every single word was true. I'm closing the book with gratitude, not glory, at the end of our story. Some tales are meant for sequels, some for standing still. Ours was always destined for a final gentle spill of ink onto the paper one last time, before the closing of the line. I don't regret a sentence, not a single page. The plot twists and the characters we made. But every author knows when it's complete and sets down the pen in bittersweet. This is the end of our story, not the end of who we are. Just a final punctuation on a paragraph that traveled far. The cover's worn, the spine is cracked, the ink is fading blue, but every single word was true. I'm closing the book with gratitude, not glory, at the end of our story. The shelf will hold this volume close forevermore, beside the other books of love I've written and adored. And someday I'll pull it down and smile at what we made, not in sorrow, not in shame, but in wonder at the tale we told, how something so fragile could be so bold. Final's the end of our story, but stories never die. They just become the stars that light another sky. I'll carry this one with me into every future page. The wisdom and the wonder and the age. I'm not erasing anything, I'm setting down the quill at the end of our story. I love was muddy, blending into fears. What once was gentle turned to something sharp, a melody that fell into a minor harm. I traced the brushstrokes, searching for the blame, but all I find is how the beauty became pain. We had a love that turned to pain, not overnight, but drop by drop of rain. What used to lift me now just pulls me down, a smile that's twisted to a frown. I don't know when the sweetness turned to stain, but we had a love that turned to pain. Your voice once music, now is just a sound that echoes accusations on the ground. The hands that held me now just push away. The tender words have nothing left to say. We built a garden, watched the flowers bloom, then poison seep into the richest soil's womb. I don't know if we chose the bitter seed, or if the bitter seed chose us to bleed. We had a love that turned to pain, not overnight, but drop by drop of rain. What used to lift me now just pulls me down, a smile that's twisted to a frown. I don't know when the sweetness turned to stain, but we had a love that turned to pain. Maybe our great love affairs are destined for the fall. Maybe we just loved too much and lost it all. Or maybe we forgot the simple art of care, left the garden to the weeds and the despair. Now I'm pulling thorns from places roses used to grow, wondering if love will ever let me go. Of what was beautiful before it went wrong. I don't know how to mourn a thing that isn't dead, just transformed into this weight of lead. Maybe one day the alchemy will change again and turn this pain back to love. closed the door and locked it years ago. Threw out the keys and watched the garden grow. But somehow in the stillness of the night, your shadow flickers just beyond my sight. It's not a wound that opens anymore, not the sharp and sudden blade I felt before. It's subtler, a chill across my skin, a ghost that slips through walls and settles in. Your memory still haunts me, not like a scream or shout, just a quiet presence following me about, a whisper in the hallway when I'm walking through the dark, a fleeting face that leaves a phantom mark. I'm not afraid, not searching, not calling out your name, but your memory still haunts me just the same. The photograph lies dormant in its frame, but something stirs each time I speak your name. I feel a breath that isn't really there, a weight of eyes that vanishes in air. It doesn't ask for tears, it doesn't plead, it simply occupies the space I need to live my life without the constant pull of yesterday that's never truly full. Your memory still haunts me, not like a scream or shout, just a quiet presence following me about, a whisper in the hallway when I'm walking through the dark, a fleeting face that leaves a phantom mark. I'm not afraid, not searching, not calling out your name, but your memory still haunts me just the same. Maybe some loves refuse to rest in peace, they linger in the corners, never fully cease. Not out of malice, not out of regret, just a stubborn need to not be finished yet. I've learned to live with footsteps in the hall that aren't there at all. Your memory still haunts me, and I've made a kind of truce with the ghost that holds the key to every truth. It doesn't hurt like it used to, it just stays, a gentle haunting through my nights and days. I'm learning to coexist with what remains. Your memory still haunts me, and I've stopped trying to explain. Still haunts me, still haunts me, the whisper in the hallway, a face that never fades. Your memory still haunts me, before. The subtle